Hey guys, what is going on? This is Wrestlelamia, back with another episode. The road to WrestleMania continues to take many twists and turns, so what should fans expect to happen on tonight's edition of Raw? Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at the 7th February edition of the Red Brand, as well as the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors you need to know, including the latest dirt on Shane McMahon's WWE exit, a former WWE superstar returning to WWE, WWE legend calls out Sasha Banks, and more. As always, Wrestlelamia won't recap the show, but we'll look at the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. The good. Raw is funny. Tonight's quiz segment between RK Bro and Alpha Academy was another comedy classic, as RK Bro outwitted and upstaged the Raw Tag Team Champions. Some fans have complained that Raw's commercial-free hour should have focused on more wrestling, but this is WWE, where the company often focuses on the entertainment aspects of sports entertainment. While WWE's efforts at entertainment don't always work, RK Bro and Alpha Academy have an innate chemistry, and tonight's comedic quiz was the latest installment of a surprisingly fun feud outside the ring, and an excellent one in the ring. More Miz mirthfulness. Wrestlelamia knows it's not alone in enjoying Miz's work as a heel, especially when it comes to him dishing out the insults on his opponents. Tonight's edition of Miz TV, where the WWE's A-lister pointed out how much taller Dominic Mysterio is than his dad and then asked, "Are you sure you're not Eddie's son?" was a hilarious and great throwback to the 2005 storyline where Ray battled Eddie Guerrero for custody of Dominic. The comments had Wrestlelamia cracking up, and we're certain we weren't alone. Seth sacrifices Kevin Owens. Looks like Seth Rollins' true colors have quickly come out in his supposed alliance with Kevin Owens. The two have been working together over the last few weeks, but it's obvious that KO is just a means to an end, in this case Rollins' pursuit of the WWE Championship. While it's no stretch to say Owens is probably using Rollins as well, having Seth leave Owens on his own after the match against RK Bro should dispel any doubts about Seth's motives. While Wrestlelamia knows better than to expect layered storylines on Raw, it would make for compelling TV if WWE explored a heel versus heel program between the two once one of them tires of the one-way alliance. Adding life to the undercard. Tonight's match between Liv Morgan and Doudrop was fairly good. In fact, it was good enough that WWE should consider making Doudrop into a monster heel like Nia Jax, minus Jax's penchant for potatoing opponents. While it's disappointing to see Liv Morgan jobbing again, at least the women's undercard is being given some TV time. Since there's zero chance of Liv or Doudrop getting any championship matches in the near future, why not use them in an undercard program? Let Lita stay. WWE Hall of Famer Lita's program with Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch is proving to be a good thing. Although it's obvious Lita is being booked against Lynch to add some nostalgia to the WWE's Saudi show Elimination Chamber, Lita looks good in the ring and has been surprisingly strong on the microphone, a sign she still has lots of gas left in the tank. Here's hoping Lita sticks around after the Elimination Chamber, possibly working some sort of dream match with another main eventer at this year's Showcase of the Immortals. Hope Lita sticks around even after EC. She's still got some left in the tank. The bad. Alexa's awful analysis. Is the WWE working to destroy the fans' interest in Alexa Bliss? Anyone anticipating good things for Bliss has to have their hopes sinking every week, as Alexa's awful psychoanalysis sessions get worse every week. The segments make no sense, and Bliss's so-called counselor changes things every week, leading to confusion about what's going on with Alexa's character. It's obvious that the confusion isn't from the segments so much as WWE Creative, which likely doesn't know what it wants to do with Bliss's character. If the WWE is looking to fill time on Raw, just run hype videos saying Alexa Bliss is coming to Raw. It can't be any worse than these therapy sessions. Boring booking. What is it with WWE and the boring booking of the US Championship every week, i.e. the weekly Champions Contenders match where Damian Priest gives a Raw superstar a chance to earn a shot at his US title? What's the point of it? It's predictable that the contender will win since it's non-title and another instance of WWE booking a segment just to fill up time on the Red Brand. This example of lazy booking is even more problematic as the Archer of Infamy is supposed to be a babyface, and as such, defending the belt in an open challenge rather than making contenders fight for a title match. On a side note, has WWE figured out whether AJ Styles is a babyface or a heel? Another tiresome trope. Seth Rollins vs. Riddle, a match that could be a main event in any arena, copyright Gorilla Monsoon, but a Raw main event that was spoiled thanks to interference by Kevin Owens and subsequently rebooked into a tag team match playa between RK Bro and the team of Rollins-Owens. This wouldn't be so bad except it's an almost weekly occurrence, robbing it of any novelty. Why does WWE always take a great singles main event and turn it into a tag match? It's almost as bad as a few years back when Vince McMahon wouldn't let matches take place during commercial breaks, with the WWE frequently booking run-ins during singles matches and turning them into tag matches. This is almost as bad, and there was no need for it last night. The Downright Ugly. Tonight's Raw was a good build-up for the Elimination Chamber, with Lita cutting an excellent promo against Becky Lynch and creating the idea that she might just have enough to take out the Women's Champion. Speaking of strong promos, Bobby Lashley was back to form as the Almighty, taunting Brock Lesnar about their Elimination Chamber match and promising punishment for the Beast, as the two men will be locked in the chamber. Tonight's show had a couple of rough patches, including the always awful Alexa Bliss therapy sessions, but overall, it was a good episode. Major props to WWE for not throwing in the towel since Raw was airing on Sci-Fi instead of the USA Network. WWE could have thrown in a number of meaningless matches since it's likely its ratings will be down due to airing on a smaller network. More news on Shane McMahon's WWE exit. Topping today's news is more information on Shane McMahon's exit from WWE. As previously reported, Shane's insistence on having his way at the Royal Rumble, at one point even asking that he enter at the #1 spot and put in an Iron Man performance, led to considerable backstage heat, including a rumored blow-up with Vinnie Mac that led to Papa Vince booting Shane out of WWE. Now, Dave Meltzer is reporting that Shane was upset when he learned Seth Rollins would not compete in the Rumble. I think the idea was Shane and Seth were going to start a feud in the Royal Rumble. They were going to continue it in the Chamber match and build to a big blow-off at WrestleMania, and Vince pulled Seth from the Rumble. So Shane got really mad because that was his program, and then that's where everything escalated from that point. You'll likely recall rumors that Shane McMahon was going to work at Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania, but now the only way he'll be doing so is on WWE 2K22. The Boogeyman is back! While many former WWE superstars have shown up in AEW, the Boogeyman, aka Martin Wright, isn't going to be one of them, at least for the near future, as WWE's bizarre eater of worms and resident clock smasher recently tweeted a new deal he's signed with WWE. The Boogeyman tweeted, "Thank you CEO WWE Vince McMahon." No word on what WWE has planned for the Boogeyman, but he's always proven to be a fun character thanks to his random appearances backstage and bizarre appearance. The Boogeyman was last seen on WWE TV at 2021's Raw Legends Night, where he surprised Angel Garza. Tonga calls out Tony Khan. While the Boogeyman won't be coming to AEW, former New Japan Pro Wrestling star Tonga has declared his free agency, as well as fired a warning shot to AEW president Tony Khan. This comes after Khan revealed last week that a top-name competitor would be debuting at the 9th February edition of Dynamite. Tonga, best known for his run in New Japan as a member of the Bullet Club and 7 reigns as IWGP Tag Team Champion alongside his brother Tonga Loa, recently tweeted, "I am a free agent since January 30th, 2022, and hey, Tony Khan, wanna burn bridges? I love burning bridges." Talk continues as to who will be the latest wrestler to walk through wrestling's forbidden door, a question we'll look at next. More talk on the big Dynamite debut. As talk continues about who will enter AEW this Wednesday, 2 names continue to be mentioned, Jeff Hardy and Keith Lee, with Lee being the current favorite. As Wrestlelamia mentioned in a previous news video, Jeff Hardy is believed to be under a no-compete clause until March, And while some fans think he'll somehow get out of the clause, it seems unlikely. Common sense dictates AEW would want to avoid any legal wranglings with WWE if there was a dispute about how much longer Jeff can debut, instead waiting the month or so believed to be left on Hardy's WWE clause. However, it is known that Keith Lee is an available free agent, and Dave Meltzer believes Lee may already be signed to AEW. While other free agents are available, including Karrion Kross and John Morrison, AEW may want to spread their debuts out, assuming they sign any additional superstars. Melina wants match with main eventer. Last but not least, WWE legend Melina's surprise appearance at the 2022 Women's Royal Rumble was well received, and while the multiple-time women's champion didn't last long in this year's event, she's hopeful she'll get a chance to wrestle against SmackDown superstar Sasha Banks. Melina posted on Instagram recently, discussing her appearance in the Rumble. "Thank you for all the love and edits for a match versus Sasha Banks. I love them. Last year, Impact Wrestling and NWA gave me two great matches that I will always cherish, one with Deonna Purrazzo and the other with Camille. Both gave me so much joy. It also proved I can still get in there with the best. So, that night at the Royal Rumble, I was ready to go. I wish that moment with Sasha was a singles match. To think if we were able to get a reaction like we did that night without wrestling. Can you imagine what we could do if we actually wrestled?" While it looks like Ronda Rousey will challenge Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania 38, there has been talk of other wrestlers, including Sasha Banks, being added to the match. Should WWE consider a Banks vs. Melina match at Mania if the boss doesn't wrestle in the women's title bout? Well guys, there you have it, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly from the 7th February edition of Raw. What did you think of tonight's show? Be sure to leave your comments, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time for some more wrestling content.